Kyle Busch wins, and Kevin Harvick, sponsored by Busch Beer, finishes second in the first ever Buschy McBusch Race at Kansas. That's right, you heard me right. Kyle Busch with the last name Busch. Kevin Harvick, sponsored by Busch. The Buschy McBusch. It's so much. There's Busch, there's Kyle Busch, there's Kurt Busch, there's the sponsor Busch. So much Busch. Just Busch everywhere. Anyways, wow. What a chaotic finish to that race. I hope you were able to watch it because that was the most chaotic, controversial, weird finish I have ever seen. Not all time, but it's one of them. There was chaos in terms of spinning and crashing. There was chaos in terms of some of the calls NASCAR made. And then, of course, the winner, Kyle Busch, who everyone thinks the Kyle Busch era is over. They think his career is over, all that stuff. But Kyle Busch showed up today, and he shut all those people up, and he won today. So Kyle Busch wins. You know what that means. We have to do the normal thing when Kyle Busch wins. If you know me, I love M&Ms, and so every time Kyle Busch wins, I'm not even like a huge Kyle Busch fan either. I just love M&Ms that much, but M&Ms, baby. Anyways, we have a lot to talk about, actually, about this Buschy McBusch Race 400 at Kansas. You know, there's a lot to talk about, surprisingly, but the majority of it comes in Stage 3. The first two stages, there were some moments that were really fun. The end of Stage 1, there was 4 or 5 cars up there battling for the stage win. Kyle Busch eventually pulled ahead of Kyle Larson to win Stage number 1. And then the beginning of Stage 2, the restart, there were some good battles going on, but everything else, the first 70 laps of Stage 1 were kind of dull. Nothing was really happening. Not a lot of passing going on. And then after the first 20, 30 laps of Stage 2, it was kind of the same thing. It wasn't like horrific. It wasn't like they were single file. They were still passing, but I would say at that point it was a pretty slightly below average, maybe an average race. You know, I don't know how to say it, but then Stage 3 came. Stage 3, there was some passing going on. There was some good racing at times. It was kind of the same. It was really hit or miss. It just depended on what was going on. But then the last pit stop happened, and this is when chaos just broke loose, controversy everywhere, and this is where the bulk of this video is going to be. We're going to talk about multiple controversies in this race, not just by like drivers crashing each other, but by NASCAR itself blatantly manipulating a race. We're going to talk about some of the incidents at the end of this race and how this race went from no natural cautions the first 220 laps to about 7 or 8 in the last 40 laps. So let's get into it. With about 55-ish to go, green flag, 60 to 55 laps to go, green flag pit stop started, and that would be the last pit stop for all the drivers. Everyone would be able to make it on fuel. Tires hadn't been wearing a bunch all day, so they would not have had to be concerned about tire wear. And, you know, everything was going normal. Tyler Reddick pits. Tyler Reddick does his 4-tire pit stop, and they lose the tire. It bounces off the wall. The guy can't grab it, and it goes into the grass portion of the end. I guess not the infield, but the grass area between the tri-oval and the pit road. And it's right at the edge of the pit road, but it's not like on the edge to where it's in the way in a car. It's a few feet into the grass, so it's not a danger in terms of a driver spinning and hitting it. It's also not a danger of a driver hitting it while it's pitting, because it had stopped at this point. In the process of this, 2 drivers, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Chris Buescher, had decided to stay out and run the cycle as long as they could, try to basically run their car out of fuel almost, or run as long as they possibly could, and try to catch a caution. And, you know, they stayed out because they saw the tire that was stuck out there. You can't run across pit road and get it. That's going to be some type of penalty, some type of fine, some type of suspension, I think. So you can't just run across pit road and grab it. Reddick obviously got an uncontrolled tire penalty. He had to do a pass-through. But the thing is that usually in the past, NASCAR throws this caution. NASCAR didn't throw the caution in the first 5 laps. They didn't even do it in the first 10 laps. I don't think they even did it in the first 15 laps. They might have waited 20 laps to do this. And in the process of all this, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Chris Buescher are staying out thinking that NASCAR is going to throw a caution like they normally do, because NASCAR usually throws the caution. And the whole basis of Stenhouse and Buescher's strategy is they get up front by everyone else, getting pinned a lap down or getting way far behind, 30 seconds behind. They catch a caution, get some lap cars between them and the leaders, the ex-leaders, I guess, at this point. And then they get fresh tires and they get to be out front because they got all that time. And so in the process of this, Stenhouse has to pit. Buescher has to pit. And they both go a lap down. And so that basically screws them. That screws their race up. That screws the rest of their race up. And after Chris Buescher pits, about 5 laps after, they decided to throw the caution for the tire because it was a danger. It was a safety hazard, I think was the wording NASCAR used. They waited 20, maybe more, maybe slightly less, but it was definitely more than 15 laps. NASCAR waited to throw the caution until the leaders pitted. That makes absolutely zero sense to me whatsoever. I don't understand it. Heck, I might never understand it, but why would you blatantly manipulate a race for your own reason? I don't even know what the reasons would be, but when two guys are playing a strategy that relies on a caution and you intentionally wait until they pit to throw the caution, that is absurd. That is absolutely absurd. I think JTG Doherty, in fact, that 47 car ended up getting torn up. I think JTG Doherty should go demand a check for that car. Not to say Stenhouse wouldn't have won the race, but he might not have gotten wrecked. Chris Buescher should be furious. Those two guys, they might have needed a win to get in the playoffs, and this could have been a winning move. We saw it in October. It was a winning move for Kurt Busch when they played this strategy at Las Vegas. So this strategy has worked in the past. It's won guys' races. And, it could have cost these guys a playoff spot, and it cost JTG Doherty a good amount of money there with a crashed car. They have every right to go up to NASCAR. They have every right to go up to them and scream at them. They have every right to go up to them and rip the rule book up in front of them. They have every right to say whatever they want to NASCAR. They can say, you're dumb, you're stupid. That was the most baloney I've ever seen in my life. You guys are dumb. They have the right to do that, in my opinion, because that was absurd. Absolutely absurd. I mean, if you're gonna wait that long to throw the caution, there's no point in throwing it. It's been 15, 20 laps. If it wasn't a hazard immediately, it's not a hazard at all at that point. And it ended up like completely changing the whole complex or whatever of this race. It changed the gap between the leaders. It changed everything of this race. I mean, seriously, they should have thrown it immediately when the tire was stuck there after about 3 or 4 laps, or they should have just not thrown it at all, in my opinion. There was no reason to wait 20 laps to throw that caution. When that tire got there, they looked at it, they stared at it, they had all their guys talking, and you're telling me it took 20 laps to make a decision, or you intentionally waited for everyone to pit before throwing that caution. That is absolutely ridiculous. That makes no sense to me. And in fact, it's even more of a danger if there are cars on pit road. Because, what if you get turned on pit road out and you hit the tire back onto the racetrack? That's even more dangerous. You should have done it so that no one else could come down pit road. NASCAR messed up big time on that. I'm mad at NASCAR for that. I think that was an awful, awful call. They should have rather waited, or they should have rather not waited and done it as soon as they could within the first 5 laps of it, realizing nothing's going to happen with it. Or they should have not thrown it at all. There should have been no in between. They shouldn't have waited 10 laps. They shouldn't have waited 15. They shouldn't have waited 20. They should have done it as soon as they could within the first 5 laps of that being there, or they should have not done it at all. They blatantly, intentionally, they looked at it. They stared at it. They probably read the Goodyear logo a few hundred times, and they just said, nah, let's wait. And then after Buescher and Stenhouse pitted, they were like, okay, I guess it's dangerous now. I think that's absolutely absurd. I think NASCAR needs to find themselves for that. I think that JTG Doherty and Roush Fenway have every right to go up to them and scream at him. Not slap him in the face, but, be like, dumb, you are dumb. I think that is absurd. I'm mad. I'm not even a Stenhouse or a Buescher fan, and I'm so mad for those drivers. I mean, once again, I'm not saying that they would have won the race. It's a potential race-winning strategy, and it might have given them a better result than what they were sitting at the time. So they have every right to be mad. They have every right to be screaming whatever right now. That was a horrible, horrible call, in my opinion. Just absolutely horrible. But After that, the race just went into full chaos mode. The ensuing restart, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin are going side by side. Denny Hamlin takes the lead, and I was like, wow, Denny might have not choked for once. He might have done the opposite of choking for once, and he might actually have just made a race-winning move. Boy, I was wrong. Denny Hamlin does it again, and he chokes big time. He decides to go into the wall. Obviously, he didn't intentionally go into the wall, but when he was leading, Kyle Larson was trying to pass him, couldn't. It was looking very similar to last fall when Logano was blocking Harvick. Harvick clearly had the better car, but the aero package, the air was just, dirty air was just ruining Harvick's runs. That was kind of happening with Larson, and Larson finally got a run, was able to get to Hamlin's inside, and, he kind of lost it a little bit, but Hamlin just went straight into the wall. He hit the wall really hard, pancaked it, and then he blew a tire, hit the wall, and that ruined his chances of winning. I think he came back for a top 15 finish, but it ruined any chance he had at winning this race, and then it got even more crazy. The next restart, there was a spin between Stenhouse and Cindric, I think. The next restart, there was a crash between Bell and Stenhouse, and that's when Stenhouse got destroyed. Bell was taken out, and Bell had a top 10 car all day. I think Priest was in that crash as well. And then the next restart, I think it was that restart or the next restart, Kyle Larson lost the lead to Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson had dominated most of this race, and Kyle Busch was able to take the lead. And then on the last restart, Kyle Busch was able to get a good jump, get a good push from his teammate Martin Truex Jr. to get to the lead. And what really sealed the deal was going into turn 2. Kyle Larson was shoving Ryan Blaney. He washed up the racetrack, and as he did, he was on the back bumper of Blaney, turned Blaney a bit. Blaney was able to kind of drift a bit and save it, and Larson went into the wall. It ruined Larson's day. It ruined Blaney's day. And Kyle Busch was able to stay ahead of his competitors, and he was able to win the Buschy McBusch Race 400. And there was some more controversy with that as well. The last caution of the race came with about 10 laps to go. And NASCAR, for some odd reason, felt the need to run 8 pace laps. 8. They should have, if they thought it was that bad, they should have red flagged it. When it's this late in the race, you shouldn't be wasting laps on pace laps. 8 pace laps should be red flag or something, because I think 8 pace laps when there's under 10 to go is absolutely ridiculous. NASCAR messed up a lot today. Sometimes they make good calls, sometimes they make bad calls. We give them crap for being inconsistent, but today it wasn't even inconsistent. It was horrid. It was awful. NASCAR, I'm sure they're going to have a lot of meetings this week and be like, all right, we're going to have to admit some stuff that we messed up some places, but they messed up really bad in my opinion. It was awful. The pace laps weren't as bad as the tire call in my opinion, but that tire caution might have been one of the worst. That was worse than the rain caution back at the Daytona Road Course. That tire caution was worse than the rain caution. That was awful. I mean, seriously, I don't know how else to put it, but it's just really frustrating as a fan. The race hadn't been great before that, and yeah, sure, it made the last 40, 50 laps very interesting with all the chaos, the crashes, the lead changes, the restarts, but it's so frustrating as a fan to see something like that happen, and for everyone to just, people are mad about it, but then just for it to go on and nothing happen. And no one's probably going to get punished for it, but I thought that was an awful job by them. Let's get into the finishing results, and then I guess we can rant later or tomorrow or something. But your winner is Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch wins the Buschy McBusch Race 400. Good for him. If you don't know, Kyle Busch has had a very tough week for him personally. Him and his wife, I think his wife had a miscarriage this week, so very tough week for him personally. Won the truck race yesterday, was able to win the cup race today. So he swept the weekend in NASCAR. Sure, that helped him and the family out a bit. But, they've had a tough week in the Busch household. It was also Kyle Busch's birthday, though. So birthday win for Kyle Busch. But tough week for him personally. But on the racetrack, he had an amazing week. If you ever question Kyle Busch's abilities, man, the dude knows how to win. It doesn't matter where. Usually it doesn't matter when, but Kyle Busch got it done today. He looked really good today. He was up in the top 5 all day long. I picked him to win. I finally got another pick right, so I guess that's good too. But yeah, Kyle Busch gets his first win of 2021, making it, I think, the 10th different winner of 2021. 10 winners in 11 races. Woo! Are we going to hit 16 this year? I don't know, but Kyle Busch, we expected him to win this year, but still, man, chaos. Second place, Kevin Harvick, his best run of the year by far. He was in the top 5, top 10 all day long. He was rather inside the top 5, 4th or 5th, or he was just outside in 6th or 7th. But late in the race, he had a penalty for an uncontrolled tire, and everyone's like, oh man, there goes his opportunity. Dang, so tough for him. But he was able to rally back with all those cautions, all the different strategies the guys pitting, and all the chaos in the last couple of laps. Brad Keselowski threw a couple dumb blocks. Obviously, the Blaney-Larson thing happened, and Harvick was able to sneak up and get into second there. So a really good run for him. Third place, Keselowski. Keselowski led the opening 70 to 75 laps of this race before being passed by Larson and then by Busch. So Kyle Busch won stage 1, Larson stage 2. So just a good day for him following up the win at Talladega last week, but no playoff points. Here's one that shocked me. Matt DiBenedetto gets a 4th place finish, his 2nd consecutive top 5, 3rd or 4th consecutive top 10, a much needed points day for them, puts them in the playoffs right now. Remember, they started off this season, they were awful. I think 2 crashes in the first 2 races. The first 4 races, I think they finished outside the top 25. They had an awful start to the year, but they started picking it up. They started to get stage points. They started to get top 10s. Now they're starting to lead laps and get top 5s. Matt DiBenedetto is starting to do much better. And yeah, so this team's starting to pick it up. I think he restarted 9th on that last restart, and with all the chaos, he was able to get up into 4th, and I had no idea. But a beautiful car, by the way. The Dickies all-yellow car. I thought that looked amazing today, but great run for them, great points day for them, and the fact that they're in the playoffs right now, if you told me that after the 3rd race of the season, I would have said, man, chaos would have to happen, and chaos has happened. 5th, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was in the top 5, top 10 most of the day. His best run at 1.5 miles all season by far. I think Larson was the best Hendrick car by far, but I think you can make an argument that Elliott was the 2nd, Byron the 3rd. But yeah, much needed top 5 for them, but they're going into a string of races and racetracks that they do really well at here coming up. 6th place, Martin Truex Jr. I feel like I didn't hear his name at all today, and he was on the 2nd row on that last restart, so 6th place, not bad. Tyler Reddick, 7th, up and down day. He was up in the top 5 in that first stage, was competing for the stage win almost when Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson were battling there, but then he got an uncontrolled tire penalty, the one that caused all the controversy, obviously. Fell back, but was able to rally back for a top 10. Good day for him. 8th place, Chris Buescher was able to rally back from NASCAR BSing him out of a potential win, a potential top 5 finish. Obviously we can't guarantee it. It's all just a what-if situation, but yeah, he was able to rally back from being a lap down to get a top 10. Big run for them. Once again, they should be furious at NASCAR. 9th, William Byron. William Byron was up in the top 5 in stage 1, fell off a bit. He was down in 18th for a bit, but was able to come back for a top 10. A good day for him. His top 10 streak continues. I think it's 9 or 10 now. 10th, Austin Dillon was able to get himself a top 10. A really good day for them. They were right in that range all day, from the 7th to 12th range all day. RCR with a very strong day, very strong performance. 11th, Daniel Suarez. Good for him. Daniel Suarez was able to get up there near the top 10. He was pretty all right all day, but he was able to get up to 11th. Here it is, Denny Hamlin 12th. Denny Hamlin, man. You feel like this is the year, right? You know, he's choking early in the season. That means he can't choke late in the season like he normally does, right? Right? Well, man, he's got to win at some point. I don't know where it's going to be, but with everything that's happened to him, you think it's got to be at some point. At some point, right? But Denny Hamlin leading hits the wall. Just such a tough day for them. They just have the worst luck right now, which is ironic because they're leading the points by a ton of points. 13th, Michael McDowell, solid run for him. 14th, Chastain was up into the top 5 for a bit, but fell off. And 14th for him, 15th for Kurt Busch. Good day for Chip Ganassi Racing. 16th, Ryan Newman. 17th, Joey Logano. Logano was not feeling good the past couple of days. Had food poisoning, I believe, but 17th place finish for him. 18th, Alex Bowman. 19th, Bowman was involved in something. I think Bubba washed up the track and hit him a bit. But yeah, 18th Bowman, 19th Larson. Larson dominated today. Just like Atlanta, led so many laps, won a stage, but late race Blaney. I mean, Atlanta, he was passed by Blaney today. He messed himself up here. He was a little too aggressive. He hit Blaney at a bad spot. It sent Blaney sideways. Blaney saved it, but in the process, Larson hit the wall, and it ruined both of their days. 20th, Chase Briscoe, so 2 Stewart-Haas cars in the top 20. 21st, Blaney, poor Blaney. 22nd, Cendric. 23rd, Alfredo. 24th, Custer. 25th, Jones. 26th, Bubba. 27th, LaJoy. 28th, Bell. Bell was running top 10 before being involved in a late race crash. 29th, Almirola. 30th, Justin Haley. 31st, BJ McLeod. 32nd, Ryan Preece. 33rd, Garrett Smithley. 34th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 35th, Joey Gase. 36th, Cody Ware. 37th, Quinn Houth. 38th, Matt Mills. 39th, Josh Bilicki. So a chaotic and controversial Buschy McBusch race ends up with Kyle Busch winning his second career Kansas race, his first race of 2021. A big race for him. Personally, a big race for him this season. Gets him into the playoffs for 2021. And that is the third Joe Gibbs driver to win this year. So good for them. Good for that team. Lots of controversy. Lots of upset fans, I'm sure, after this race of certain race teams. But yeah, overall the race was going to be a 6.5 up until the chaos and controversy. The controversy itself just makes me so mad. I got to dock it 2 points for that. But then the chaos was a bit fun, so the controversy takes the biggest hit out of this rating for this race. The racing itself would have gotten a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, but the race overall, because of all the controversy, because of the bad calls, it's a 5 out of 10 for me. So yeah, really disappointed with NASCAR today and the calls they made, but it was kind of fun at the end, I'll admit. But once again, just really mad at NASCAR for those calls, especially the tire call. That was really bad. But yeah, thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the race. Hopefully we have a good race at Darlington next week, Throwback week. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, and have a great rest of your day.